let's get down to it.
All right, well, Paul does get to go first because he was our first seed in the Swiss. He is 10-0. Can he make it a perfect 11-0 clean sweep? Put him at the ground.
Looking at a 7-card hand that's all castable spells, Shock is pretty low impact in the matchup.
I throw this one back so fast. Scorch Spitter is like 12 damage. Just mulligan to Scorch Spitter. I'm not even joking. It's so good.
This is the kind of hand where I would worry about regretting my decision in both directions.
Sure,
As we see,
sure.
Paul Wu does keep it.
The problem is that like Light Up the Stage isn't going to be great until 3, and only if the Robber of the Rich connects for a second time. But Ely Kassis' hand is not super good. He has the Ether Gust, obviously, but he's only got 2 lands. Maybe he'll draw them. Maybe he won't.
Another land off the top for Wu, but now the Robber of the Rich gets to go to work. Takes a Blast Zone away from Kassis. Now, Wu can't use that, but you probably don't mind not playing against it so much. That card can be quite good against the red deck.
Ooh, nice pickup for Kassis. Finds that land that he so desperately needed, but also just has the natural curve of Ether Gust into Euro next turn.
Not bad. Go back Wu's way, finds Scorch Spitter. Quite a bit worse on turn 3 than it is on turn 1, but still a creature that applies pressure. Robber attacks. Look like another land.
Yeah, nothing of consequence. I mean, it's kind of good for Paul that he's like taking lands away from Ely potentially, but as far as like needing to press the gas a little bit, like hitting a spell would have been really nice.
Light Up the Stage. That resolves. We see Mountain and a Fervent Champion. Now the Scorch Spitter from hand cast. And the Fervent Champion, why not? Let's get that out there.
And these players know deck lists. They are open, so there's very little potential for like a sweep or something coming down. So Paul Wu decides to go ahead and play the Fervent Champion, even though it has haste, wants to use his mana as efficiently as possible.
That was a big test for Ely. Missed on a land after putting one in on Growth Spiral. Could have played the front side of an Uro. Instead, he's going to leave up Mystical Dispute or Ether Gust. Teams coming in. Wu picked up Embercleave and finds Negate.
Oh, no!
Now,
he's one.
The mana doesn't quite work, but
Yeah.
you might see Wu wait a little bit and just have that Negate ready.
Yeah, no, that's super awkward for Ely, man. He just like can't interact before damage, so he just has to let damage happen, and then let the negate kind of like subside until the end of turn. Like he's probably just gonna have to just cycle Shark Typhoon or whatever.
I want to highlight something kind of minor.
Do it.
Last turn, Wu played a land before Light Up the Stage.
Up.
And then exiled a mountain, which was now the land for turn, and that sequencing resulted in Castle Embereth being stranded after seeing this negate here, which likely would have been activated otherwise.
Is it really stranded though? Because if he did activate it, he would have had probably his Robber of the Rich tagged with an Ether Gust.
I think that's acceptable.
I mean, it's probably acceptable.
You get the same amount of damage.
Yeah, but next turn, hear me out. Embercleave plus negate back up.
Oh yeah, that's coming.
Oh yeah.
See, Kassis makes a 1/1 Shark. No land from that cycle, no land from the draw step.
Yeah, pretty brutal for Ely not hitting lands in his 30 land deck or whatever. I mean, that just kind of happens. It's rare, but it happens sometimes. And whenever it happens, I like to point it out because it doesn't happen very often.
Go back to Wu, draws a land. Plays Mountain, not Castle. I guess just planning on using all the mana at this point anyway. At this point, I kind of like disguising the castle because you might like actually play it and activate it next turn as a surprise.
Sure, no, that's certainly reasonable. See, what I was thinking of, there was a window for Paul to shock the Shark token, and that would have cleaned it up so it can't just like chump block the Scorch or chump block something or potentially trade with a Scorch Spitter. But now, if he goes for a shock at any point, expansion can actually copy it and then kill something like the Robber of the Rich. So. but that's not going to matter. This is about
Here's
to
a
get
block.
really
Here
bad.
comes the cleave. Ember Cleave with negate backup. Have you ever seen such a thing?
Oh man, this is actually going to work out really well for Ely. It's going to go Gust on whatever creature gets targeted, or the Ember Cleave itself. And then once the negate comes down, he's going to be able to use Mystical Dispute on it.
That is pretty nice. So it looks like Cleave is going for the blocked Spitter. Kassis is going to use Petty Theft on the Ember Cleave. This is going to get that negate from Wu, and there's the Mystical Dispute, like you said.
Yeah, and now the Scorch Spitter is going to get traded off with the Shark token here instead of the Shock trading for it like a half turn ago when there was 5 dead mana left around on the table.
That Ether Gust in Kassis' hand looking a lot better. Here's a 4th land. We're looking at Reclamation mana. Ooh, we have Escape Uro cards? Wow.
Yeah, it's got a lot of cards because he's just like played a bunch of little cheap interactive things, but also just like drew discarded Euro like 2 turns ago when he had 8 cards and no land.
Yeah, the discard to hand size there. That is wild.
Yeah, everything's coming out of Millhouse.
All right, what can Wu do about this?
Is the game just over to double shock?
Breath. Yeah, double shock plus Ember Cleave. Yeah, either creature. Yeah, there's enough mana here.
Yeah.
Fervent Champion's mana neutral. Every haste creature, it costs 1, reduces Ember Cleave.
Yep, so Ember Cleave plus double shock should be enough.
It's also plus damage because you have 2 Fervent Champions now.
True that.
I got a little excited about how much Kassis was able to do on so few resources.
Same.
But the Cleave cares not.
Yeah. So sometimes you get so caught up in the minutia of cool interactions that you forget that someone is just dead.
Yeah.
I oftentimes forget what life total I'm at because I'm just so focused on how to deal with stuff that's like on the battlefield killing me.
Yeah, well, I mean, like when you play test, what you're looking at a lot of times is just how powerful is the stuff my deck is doing. I feel pretty good about Kassis' deck after playing a game like that, where my deck didn't cooperate and I still did so many things.
Yeah, he also drew like 10 trash cards, like he drew a bunch of negates and mystical disputes and stuff, and they're just so bad in the mirror or in this matchup,
Right. Now, I'm a lot less happy about that game when I'm playing for $1,000.
Yeah, no kidding.
But there's quite a bit of help for Kassis out of the sideboard here. Got some flame sweeps, a couple more red spot removal spells, some good upgrades here.
Yeah, I mean, I think both decks change a significant amount, but the Team Erect deck gets a lot of the quote unquote bad cards out of the deck in favor of just like cheap interaction. You get negate, mystical dispute out, you get various removal spells in. It's like red is a support color for creatures, and blue is a support color for for killing creatures, and blue is a support color for stopping spells. And so after sideboard, you kind of just swap them out, which is kind of interesting.
See Wu trimming on some of the top end stuff, going down to 3 cleaves. You see one of the Torbrins in the sideboard. Tybalt's coming in to fight over that Uro life gain. Couple Soul Guide Lanterns. That's some good tech for the Uros as well.
Yeah, I've seen Paul Wu bring it in against all the decks with Euro, but I haven't seen him draw it yet. I'm curious how good it is. It seems like it could be fine, especially, your opponent just like plays a Euro and then you just get to snag it, on like turn 4 or whatever. It seems pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely going to matter a lot more in games like this sideboard game when the opponent has a bunch of sweepers, when it's way easier to just kill all your stuff and escape in a row.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're underway. Kassis has a really nice reactive hand. Flame Sweep, Storm's Wrath, has Reclamation, Expansion, Explosion. Wu has a very solid curve, though. He sees Scorch Spitter into Robber of the Rich.
Yeah, this is a beating, though, because Flame Sweep's about to clean house, dude.
Hey, that's where the rest of the hand comes in, though. You see 2 3-drops and a Torbran.
Yeah. I mean, this is obviously a great hand from both players, and Paul Wu might actually come out on top because he has a natural curve of 1, 2, 3, 4 with more stuff to do on turn 5. Like, it's just wild.
See, Tybalt deploy before Anax, getting ahead of an Uro. I dig this. Kassis is going to shock in a breeding pool. No fear. Here's the Wilderness Reclamation.
Yeah, got to get Reclamation down so that you can start double spelling, triple spelling. But the fact that you can go Growth Spiral and Ether Gust after casting the Reclamation just makes it really desirable, and you're okay dealing yourself 2 damage. Exchange is definitely worthwhile.
Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, picked up by Wu. A little awkward to have 4 cards and only be able to cast 1 spell at this juncture.
Oh, for sure. That's kind of what happens, though, because the mono red decks try to go a little bit bigger, have more permanents that are tougher to beat from traditional removal spells. Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, and Tybalt, Rakish Instigator, both being planeswalkers, make them a little harder to interact with. But luckily for Ely Kassis, he has the answer in Storm's Wrath, and it'll just depend on whether or not he's able to find the second red source.
Pretty important turn for Wu. Goes with Torbran. Kassis going to fire off Growth Spiral. Yeah, this stuff all gets consumed by the Storm's Wrath, so no need for the Gust here. I suppose Kassis looking for second red.
Yeah, if he didn't find it, so I think he's actually bottlenecked into casting the Gust on the Torbran, and then maybe he'll just wait a turn. Oh, interesting.
He's on the Devils, gonna gain 3 life there, and also the damage off a death trigger. Go to Kassis' turn, draw a Shark Typhoon. Really just wanted untapped red source.
Yeah, but he can still pew pew for 4, right? He can go QQ, float 4 mana, expansion explosion on the Torbran for 4 and draw 4. And that's pretty good.
Yeah,
you know, that's pretty good.
It's certainly not bad.
Sorry you missed your red source. You just kill your thing and draw 4 cards.
And a backup explosion.
Yeah, I found the second red source now, though, so this Storm's Wrath's going to be able to clean up whatever gets cast here.
So in this game, Soul Guide Lantern not looking like it does a lot.
True. This would probably be the spot where I like shame concede or whatever as the mono red. Like the moment you draw Soul Guide Lantern, there's no Euro. You're just like, come on, couldn't that be like anything else?
I gave it my best.
Yeah, it's like when you draw Relica Progenitus in Modern after Sideboard when you're playing Burn or whatever, and it's just like in Lava Spike would have won the game, but you drew Relica Progenitus into a land and you died.
Oh yeah. I'm usually on the other side of the table for that one. I'm a big fan of that. So Chandra makes some elementals. See 3 points come across. Kassis down to 11. And, I guess we're gonna play that Soul Guide Lantern.
I guess.
May as well.
Yeah. I mean, you could just cycle it next turn, you know? If there's no Euro, the extra card might be helpful, and you just have the mana laying around right now. Might as well go ahead and spend it.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, one cool thing that Paul Wu could do is, or could have done maybe, is try to tick up the Chandra, so because it also ticks up the Tybalt because it pumps the all red planeswalkers, right? So you get
I was thinking about using that 0 because it also puts the Chandra to 5, which means Storm's Wrath wouldn't kill it, but you'd miss 2 points that turn.
Yeah, the 2 points probably matters a little bit more. And force them to burn the Storm's Wrath now, though. You can basically get 2 for 1, but your Tybalt already did like quite a bit, and the Chandra dealt 2 damage, so it's not like that big of a deal.
So there is the Storm's Wrath. I would say Kassis pretty firmly in the driver's seat at this point.
Oh, for sure. With no creatures on the battlefield on like turn 8 or whatever, you know, this Embercleave, not so big of a deal.
This is no time for an Embercleave. Remember, though, this is for Kassis to force a game 3. After doing this, he does have to win another on the draw if he's going to end Paul Wu's undefeated streak.
Yeah, but he might have the build to do it. You know, he's here for a reason. He's playing kind of a classic Teamer Reclamation, but it feels like he came pretty well prepared for these aggressive decks. We've seen a lot of players have like the white splash for Teferi Time Raveler and Dovin's Veto and just stumbling all over their mana bases and dying. But we've seen Ela Kassis have stuff like Flame Sweep and Storm's Wrath, things that have been absent from other Reclamation players of sideboard, and they've been incredible. You know, they just literally won him the game.
Yeah. The Flame Sweep was a big deal when it happened. The Storm's Wrath, a bigger deal. And now double Reclamation, got a big explosion, got a Shark Typhoon.
Yeah, I kind of like going for a medium to big explosion on the Anax, just to make sure you can contain an Embercleave as much as possible, because you are a 10. An Embercleave out of some, not out of nowhere, but an Embercleave with some amount of presence on the battlefield, pretty dangerous, and a large shark not necessarily going to get the job done, especially against a haste creature.
How do you feel about this? How do you feel using all of this mana and just keeping these 7 lands to leave up explosion on 3?
Love it. It's perfect, and that's what he's going to do, because he's a world-class player, and so are you.
Aw, shucks. There's a 7/7 shark. I think that was the Uncle Shark we decided earlier.
Yeah. And that's callback. All right. Well, a crack of the Soul Guide Lantern feels like what's up, because I don't think you're getting through this otherwise. That Blast Zone sitting on 3 also important to note, because got to cover literally every base if you're Ely.
Here we see Steamkin deployed. No rush on that Embercleave. It's pretty clearly not going to work.
Now, if you're Ely, I think you still, end of turn, just crack the Blast Zone to use your mana. Oh, you can use Stomp, too. Oh, he's going for face. He just has lethal with the expansion explosion.
Oh, yeah.
That's a GG. He's got way enough.
A lot of mana with these reclamations.
Playing the Breeding Pool on tap gave him 24 mana.
How demoralizing is that Stomp if you're Paul Wu?
Well, it was unnecessary, so I would say incredibly demoralizing. I would say maybe like the biggest spit in your face. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, you're dead. The moment the Bone Crusher Giant hits your face inside your Steamkin, you're dead.
Shark comes across, doesn't matter. This explosion's for plenty lethal. You think he's gonna have Wu draw the cards? No.
I always do it when it's lethal. I just want them to know what they're gonna draw.
Ooh. Sack that Soul Guide Lantern in response. No good. Red Cap melee. It's looking for a Ricochet Trap. No dice.
Dude, how late would Ricochet Trap be in this format? That would be such a mind game. And such a super hard card to play around, Why not? Everyone else gets Mystical Dispute. Give me my Ricochet Trap.
It doesn't play great in the light up the stage decks, but it would be cool to have around.
Right. Wait, doesn't Ricochet Trap also say that if your opponent has cast a blue spell, it only costs 1? So it's literally just like a red Mystical Dispute?
I mean, yeah, it costs 4 on the front side, but yes, it's reduced to 1 if your opponent casts a blue spell.
Oh, but it just redirects a spell. It doesn't counter.
It doesn't counter it. It redirects. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not quite the red Mystical Dispute, but it's close.
As far as red spells that could be compared to Mystical Dispute, it's in 3rd place after Pyroblast and Red Elemental Blast.
Okay, I'm not a scientist, but Red Cat melee against Teamer Reclamation, I have to feel like the thing that you are most afraid of, I guess, is Nightpack Ambusher. Is that why you bring in the Red Cat melee? What else are you targeting?
I think Nightpack Ambusher is a big one. Also, sometimes Shark tokens. I'm not thrilled about seeing 2 in the opener here, but this 3rd land off the top is a big deal.
Yeah, here we're seeing something I mentioned earlier in the broadcast about these Essence Scatters from Ela Kassis. Out of the sideboard, they've been so clutch against these aggressive strategies. Just outrageously good.
Countered the Annex. Steamkin still on the table, though. See Ely Shocks just leaving the mana up here. Ooh, and a Chandra Acolyte of Flame off the top for Wu. Some things to think about here.
Okay, hear me out. Attack, light up the stage for 1, try to find a land, play the land, cast the Chandra, make 3 mana. Right? Minus the Chandra on the live stage, cast the live stage again. Yeah?
I dig it.
Yeah, me too.
The only thing is just like if I come up with that line, there's no way I hit the land.
Oh, absolutely never. You're just bricking 100% of the time. But you might actually hit a any red spell, right? And that'll turn on the Steamkin too. But you'll probably just hit double Torbrand or Ember Leap or whatever and be sad.
This one works pretty well, though. Chandra, make 2 tokens, attack for 5. Kassis to 11. That was an important draw step. It was not a sweeper effect.
No, it's not. And not a whole lot going on here for Ely, actually. The Euro doesn't quite have enough food, I don't think. And couldn't cast it this turn anyway. But does get to maybe untap the Blast Zone and start churning that up a little bit.
Acclamation untaps. We go back to Paul Wu. I'm not seeing it without getting lucky and light up the stage, but 11 feels like a number that's theoretically in bounds here, you know?
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything. I thought maybe like this should be a hard turn. Like you go, like try to kill. But I mean, with 5 untapped mana, like it's pretty dangerous. You would probably have to red cap melee your own 1/1 token or something.
You don't want
and
to
that's
get
just
too
like
fancy into an Ether Gust either.
Right. No, but light up the stage here feels like a pretty easy one. You know, if you play Anax first, you can Steamkin light the stage after. But you might play something like hit something that you'd rather cast. Maybe not though. Maybe it's worth it just to play Anax and hold. But the light up the stage just feels like it's so good here.
So the 5 points connect. Kassis down to 6. Wu is looking at Anax. Gonna give this part of the turn a think. Whichever spell you lead on, if the Steamkin just goes unchecked here, which you imagine it probably will after connecting for 3, you get to cast the other. Alright, so Anax is cast. We're going to see a 3rd counter added to that Steamkin. He's thinking about Essence Scattering the Anax, and you might very well have to, because Storm's Wrath is the best way out of this.
I can take Blast Zone up to 3, and that'll allow him to take care of the Anax and the Chandra next turn. But it will leave behind some tokens, which is potentially problematic. But it might be necessary. I think I would probably Essence Scatter. You have the clean Essence Scatter Cycle Triome turn. And you don't have to worry about the tokens that are created by Anax, but you still need to get Chandra off the battlefield. Like, this game is slowly slipping away, you know?
Anax resolves, because he's not even going to cycle the Triome first. He's got a plan.
He's not even going to play the light up the stage. He's just going to pass the turn, dude. He's passing the turn to keep the Steamkin above 4 power so that a Storm's Wrath gives more tokens.
Well, he's also respecting Flame Sweep.
Right. Good call.
I love that.
Super heads up play here from Paul. Excited to see how the rest of this game plays out. This has been a delightful finals match.
No argument there. You have 2 great players here. I am really curious to see what Kassis has cooking.
I mean, it has to just be like a tick up to 3 on the end step here. Oh, we're still going. Okay, Wu was tanking for a long time on the side of the stage. I thought he was going to let it sit for a while. Luckily for him, no Flame Sweep currently. So not going to get punished for this.
It would be a little bit silly, but if Flame Sweep were cast, Wu could just double melee those tokens and save the Steamkin.
No, and yeah, I don't think that's that rough of a sequence either.
All right.
You're targeting your own red card, right? So you don't even have to sack the land.
Right. And I think that's ultimately the point in favor of lighting up there. Finds a Castle Embereth and another Annex. Blast Zone goes to 3 for Kassis. Expansion Explosion off the top. You will start the turn with Uro. Let's go up to 9.
Oh, he found it. I was going to say one of the best draws would have been untapped land here, because now he can bring the Euro back from the graveyard. Then he gets to untap all of his lands. Although the problem with that is that then Blast Zone actually kills his own Euro. So maybe he has to like move to blockers next turn, then block with Euro, and then crack the Blast Zone. Or maybe he's got something else in mind.
It might just be acceptable, especially with the leftovers involving Explosion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Fabled Passage. See a couple searches here. Ooh, he's shy on cards, it seems.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Maybe not. Didn't look like it was highlight before.
Agree. It does say 5 in graveyard, and I think Euro is one of them.
Yeah.
So I think he is 1 card short.
No escape.
Yeah. It's unfortunate, because if he had actually just played the Essence Scatter last turn on the Annex, like, you know, I think he'd be in a lot better shape here. He'd be able to bring the Euro back. Obviously, he had to get a little lucky. I think he drew actually like back-to-back Fabled Passage for the turn or something wild. But I mean, worst case scenario here, you can just frickin' Expansion Explosion something for a little bit, Blast Zone the rest. Like, you know, he's still okay. He's still alive.
Yeah, still. So he's cycling here with some floating mana, still holding up Blast Zone, still leaving up Essence Scatter, draws Night Pack Ambusher. Go to Paul Wu. Looks like upkeep Blast Zone, make it so these satyrs can't attack this turn. I like that.
Yep. So you do it on upkeep so the satyrs can't attack. You also want to do it before main phase so that the Chandra doesn't get to 0 and make some tokens to rumble in.
Let's see what Paul Wu can do. See a Steam Can off the top.
I think you just have to cast the Annex from exile here while you can, and then hope that something like Torbrand's good enough next turn. Like, this is going to get hit with a an Essence Scatter here, but...
Yeah, Annex cast, that gets scattered. Still puts a counter on the Steamkin. Steamkin's attacking for 3. Wu is maybe thinking about using Red Cap melee as +1/+1. Holds off on that, though, because he's down to 6.
Yeah, it's going to be a really nice surprise answer to this Night Pack Ambusher. The problem is that expansion... Oh, what a draw.
Ether Gust off the top. Now Kassis gets to escape Uro.
You honestly, you hate to see it.
All right, Uro's in. Kassis is going to go to 9. Finds another Night Pack Ambusher. That's whatever immediately. Probably would prefer to find a land there. All right, so you Reclamation trigger. Float 2 mana, about to untap 6 lands. Here comes the first Night Pack Ambusher.
He's just doing it to use up his extra mana, right?
Well, no, that's not what I'm looking at here. We've seen Wu sit here with 2 Red Cap melees in hand the entire game. Are they going to pay off here?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
They're either great or they're not, and we're going to find out pretty soon. I feel like you probably have to start with the second Steamkin, because you can cast a lot of spells that way. You started with Fervent Champion.
Yeah, I would have liked second Steamkin, but it's possible he's just trying to go Torbrand into double melee, and he has just enough mana to do that and play all of his stuff.
Yeah, Torbrand melee does cut down Uro.
he's going to get blown out by expansion on his own Red Cap melee, I think. It's just going to copy and kill Torbrand or Steamken or something, and it's just going to make combat just impossible.
Yeah, the combination of expansion and Ether Gust, that's going to be too much.
Yeah, Ely sequencing this game is just genius. Actual genius. Like here, all he has... well, I don't know. Let's see. Let's see how this plays out. I'm just going to sit.
Right, Red Cap melee. This one's going at the Night Pack Ambusher. That's possible. So it's showing that Wu is afraid of interaction. I don't know if it's necessarily a giveaway for the second copy. But the Uro is the ideal target. Ambusher goes down, Wu sacks a land. Second Red Cap melee going for the Uro. I imagine you see Kassis respond here.
Yeah, I like Gus on Torbrand, followed by expansion on Red Cap melee, killing the runaway Steamkin, and then it's Euro versus 3/1/1s, and you get to untap with Nightpack Ambusher.
This is so
he's double
brutal.
gusting. That's so much more gross. Holy crap. He just gets to put both big creatures back on top of the deck.
Gust your Torbrand, Gust your Steamkin. Uro takes 4. That's fine. Sack a land, please.
I think I actually like the second Ether Gust less than just Red Cap melee, because you actually just give him an option to draw it again if he wants to.
Well, drawing the Torbrand again is nothing because Wu is sacrificing lands to the melees.
Ah, fair enough. Just what an incredible sequence from Ely, man. Like he had it, he was patient, he waited for just the right spots, immediately paid off, you know? All the lands are gone, the Torbrand's gone, stuck to the bottom now, only 2 lands in play. Untapping with a Euro and a Wilderness Reclamation. We've just seen it so much.
Paul
Time and time again.
Put on a hell of a show today, but it looks like 10-1 is going to be the record.
Yeah, Neil Kassis, former Invitational champion. Just looks like he's going to take this one down. $2,000 in the bank.
Back to Kassis. Here comes Uro. Up to 12. Put a land on the table. Wu to 14. He's going to go ahead and gain some more life. 15 seems more comfortable than 12, though both numbers pretty well infinite against 3/1/1s. Scry on Castle Vantress, Scry not.
Yeah, I don't even know what you're afraid of. There's no combination of cards, you know? Like, a Nightpack Ambusher covers most bases. 2 Red Cap melees have already been played. This Nightpack Ambusher is almost 100% going to swallow up the Fervent Champion for free at the worst.
It's some stomp you on end step energy. That's what we're seeing here.
Yeah, I mean, he's like technically an expansion explosion away from winning or whatever, but like the game is well over.
Robber of the Rich, gonna get ambushed by the Nightpack Ambusher. Negate off the top for Kassis. That's whatever. Already has 10 points on the table. You can scry these to the top or the bottom. The game is already over, but those cards are both nice. Draws Shark Typhoon, has Ether Gust right under it.
Man, what a well-played match from our first champion here of our championship qualifiers here. Ely Kassis is going to take home $2,000. Both players locked up a qualification to our Season 2 championship in September. Just what a day.
There's a ton of discipline on that turn when Kassis had 5 lands. The choice to crank the Blast Zone to 3 when there was a couple other options, including Essence Scatter on Anax.
Yeah, like the thing that Essence Scatter is for. Like,
right.
It's literally there for that.
Just amazing navigation there.
Man, I really wish we had gotten to see. I wish we were in the universe where we got to see Paul Wu go for the big time play with the like turn 4 Steamkin light up the stage Chandra turn. That would have been so much fun to see him hit it, and I think that would have been enough to snowball it. Honestly,
I was kind of wondering about the red cap melee turn. It's possible that Wu had a line that involved, after the first melee resolved, just attacking into the Uro and then reactively using that melee potentially. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
Paul Wu gonna have to settle for 10-1. Gonna have to settle for $1,000.